Vrydag is my gunsteling dag van die week, want dit beteken die ouens van Overdrive TV kom kuier saam met ons. En soos julle weet, is ek 'n kar fanatic. Ek lees alles oor karre. Ek wens ek het hulle werk gehad sodat ek rond kan ry in 'n nuwe kar elke week. Gavin and Chiro van Overdrive TV. Good morning. Goeiemôre.
Goeiemôre.
Nice to have you guys here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Very exciting to talk about new cars, and at the moment you're driving.
Yeah,
the Chevy Utility.
Chevy Utility. Probably the least interesting name in the world for a car.
But I see that in the UK and the States they always call it a utility. We call it a bakkie.
Yeah, exactly. We call it bakkie. I mean, they might as well just call this the Chevy bakkie.
And Australia, they call it the Ute as well.
That's true as well, yeah. I mean, it's like Porsche bringing out a car and calling it the very quick.
Yeah.
Or the, you know what I mean?
The speedy.
Or the turbo. I know they've done that already. Yeah. All right, so, you know, we all have them in our lives, these sort of salt-of-the-earth, reliable people, and that's the character of the Chevy. I mean, it's so honest, it's named after what it does, you know.
Exactly.
It's useful. Basically, and replacing the very popular Corsa bakkie, which is now gone. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
It is a bit sad because it's a legend car in South Africa.
It was very popular.
Every second person drives it.
But this reminds you of another legendary South African car, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. And I mean, they're basically taking the concept of bakkie back to basics, and it reminds me a lot of the Nissan Champ. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
The 1400.
Yeah.
I think those were on sale for 2 decades in this country.
Daar's nog mense wat hulle rondry.
I think they did the Great Trek in one of those.
Jan van Riebeeck het een gebruik. Van Suid-Afrika. Yeah.
So I mean, the one we had was workhorse spec. You know, you actually had to put the key in the door to unlock it. I haven't experienced that in a while. Do you remember this as well? Windows with windy handles. That was quite fun.
I still have windows with windy handles. But anyway, this is lekker.
We're spoiled. You can tell we're spoiled.
Yeah, we're very spoiled.
Thank goodness the workhorse does come with an aircon, which was absolutely necessary during the heat wave. You get a club spec, which is very fancy, and only about another 25 grand on top. So this one starts at 115 grand.
I like the
very
price.
well
It's the
priced.
first thing that it's an incredible price.
So if you're running a fleet, or you need to stock a fleet, or maybe you've just started a little plumbing business or whatever it is, and you want a new car, I can highly recommend this. It's very refreshing inside. It's sort of, you know, I mean, it's Spartan. It's not there to excite Japanese teenagers, you know. It's the basics. But I mean, it's like I love comparing cars to dogs, and this is like taking your Jack Russell to the park, and all it wants to do is chase German Alsatians. And sometimes you're in this and you think, and there's a German salute. You think you'll chase him down at the robots. It feels like you can, but don't, you'll lose. It's like, it just feels fun.
Talking about the specs on it, the bakkie deel van die car, it's deeper.
Yes,
it's got a backing that opens.
It's got a really nice, I mean, it's brought right up to modern standards. Everything right down to the engine is totally modern. It's got high-level brake lights, which is a necessity these days.
Absolutely.
You can't make a car without them. It's regulations. And like you say, it's a lot deeper at the back. It just feels like it's been brought right into the 21st century, you know, and the old Corsa is maybe starting to feel a bit dated.
It's age, but and you say the engine's fantastic. And also, you've achieved that very rare thing where you got better fuel consumption than the manufacturers claim. They can always be quite liberal with their claims, but we actually managed to get it.
But talking about a claim, someone claimed something this week, Chiro, about you.
Yes.
You drive a bakkie around for a certain reason.
Well, what I realized when I had this car in test was I live and work in the middle of Cape Town, and you know what I'm talking about. It's 10 rand an hour. Now, for me, I'm there for 9 hours. That's a lot of money. And if you got a bakkie, you can park in a loading zone as long as you like. No one bothers you.
I don't condone that. Let's actually move on to the next car.
Let's move on.
A car with the most beautiful, sleek lines. This is a beautiful car.
It's fantastic. Now, this is the car that if the Corsa is for the straight-talking, the utility is for the straight-talking members of the family, then this is more for your eccentric uncle. They've always had a brand for the eccentrics, and that brand is Citroen. I remember of all the hundreds of car books I owned as a kid, one image really stands out for me. It was in 1955 at the Paris Motor Show when they launched the initial DS, and there's just the DS, and there's just a throng of people standing around staring at it, and all of the other stands were empty. So it has it looked like nothing else ever. It was actually designed by an Italian sculptor, Flaminio Bertoni, and an aviation engineer named André Lefebvre. So with names like that, they have to have been famous for something. So they've got a lot to live up to, the DS name, with the new DS4. And I think Citroen actually just hire people based on how cool their names are, because this one was put together by Olivier Vincent, Thomas Daussi, Thierry Metro, and someone named Sean Johnson. I don't know what he was doing there.
I think it must be a South African. There's always a South African in the mix.
In the design somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, but and I mean, it's just, how's it all worked out? It is a beautiful, beautiful car, and the French have achieved something here. It's a car that girls actually notice you in. Now, Chiro and I've been lucky.
It's a chic magnet.
Chiro and I've driven all sorts of exotic metal. You might not believe us, expensive cars, but girls just see them as shapes, passing with green shapes, red shapes.
Except if you liesel.
Yes, except the very rare, beautiful species of liesel which actually notices cars. But yeah, there really is. It is a stunning looking car. The designer said he wants something to look quite like it could drive over anything, but still appear agile. And I really think they've made it a fantastic car, and it drives brilliantly as well. We have the THP 200, which has got 147 kilowatts, so it's not slow, it's not ridiculously fast either. It just really is a brilliant, brilliant car, and it's one of those cars that you feel like you want to kind of dress up to climb into. You don't want to go down to the shops in your dressing gown. Yes. You kind of feel like I owe the car something. It looks that beautiful, so I may as well make a bit of an effort as well. Look, it is 325,000 Rand, so there's a lot of other options you have to go through before you get to it. And then probably another...
The problem is you're going to spend that, and then you need to redo your wardrobe.
For another...
So you can look as stylish as your
another
car.
40,000 Rand.
Yeah, the car's 325.
But it comes with all the kit that you need. Everything comes pretty much standard, and you won't look like anyone else on your... You'll be the only one to own one, so that's great.
Well, guys, thank you so much for highlighting 2 of the new cars on the market.
No problem.
You guys are very active on Twitter as well, at Overdrive TV. Follow them and be updated with what's hot, what's happening in the world of cars. Now with what's hot and happening in the world of fitness, over to Katlego and...
Stay with Expresso and SABC3.